Hello and welcome back to Game Vitamins. My name is Nick, and in today's video, we're going to be discussing a very important topic when it comes to running or starting a Magic the Gathering or really any TCG-based business. And that is the topic of investing or reselling. And I'm using reselling as sort of a blanket topic for running a business, whether that be small scale or brick and mortar. Maybe you're just selling a couple cards, or do you buy and sit on sealed product? Now, the reason I wanted to talk about this is I've alluded to some of my opinions on this clearly throughout my videos and across my channel. But a lot of people continue to ask in the comments, why don't I just sit on these boxes and try to make a couple bucks by holding them for a while and reselling them down the line instead of breaking open, not this, I would not break open collector boxes to try to find potential margin, but breaking down other boxes that can provide instant returns. So this is a really big topic because one of the biggest creators in the space is Alpha Investments, Rudy, the man, the myth, the legend, the taco connoisseur. Yes, we all know him. If you're watching my channel, you have certainly watched his because he is just, huge on the platform. But with that being said, his mantra, his philosophy is buy, hold, and stand the test of time. And as a fellow investor and businessman, I completely agree. But I think that it's really important for people to understand the differences between buying and investing, well, not buying, reselling and investing, right off the get-go, depending on how much money you have. Now, this really applies to just about any business and just about any type of investments. This is not financial advice. Seek out your own resources. I'm just a guy on YouTube who is reselling cardboard. But for whatever it's worth, I will share my opinion on it. And what I think people need to understand is the returns that you can make off of different amounts of money in your account. So I want to lay it out as accurately as possible, but I'm going to have to go through a couple different scenarios and some that stretch to pretty high amounts of money for you to really see what I'm getting at here. And I may actually be able to explain it a little quicker than I think, but let's just say you have $10,000. Now, if you're going to be investing in sealed product, as Rudy says, you need to sit on it for years and years and years. And if you like buying and holding and collecting and you don't like putting in the work and effort of everything I talk about on this channel and packing individual cards, throwing them in envelopes, shipping them out, dealing with customers, all of that headache, then yes, it's a totally fine option. I mean, say you get 7-8% returns. I believe Rudy says 6 to 8% is good on investing in sealed magic. Now, where you put your money, leave that to him. Don't listen to me on that. I haven't done long-term holdings. But if you have $10,000 and you go out and you want to buy out some sealed product, how much would you really make by sitting on it? Now, if you get on the high end there, let's say just for the sake of easy numbers, you make 10% a year, which is a phenomenal return, especially compounded. But let's say you put out $10,000 and a year later, what you bought is worth 10% more. You've made $1,000, and that's before you sell it and eventually incur the fees of, actually taking the product from sealed product from a hard asset to cash. And yes, you might hold it for 10 years, 20 years. Okay, so your $10,000 slowly grows over time. But as with any business, the perk to running a business, and hey, a lot of people in the comments saying this is not a business, but hey, you got to start somewhere. You got to fund yourself. And then with the working capital you put into your business, you start turning over product. Okay, let's say you have $10,000 of working capital and you go out and you buy 100 boxes for $100 a piece. Okay, so now we have 100 potential items that can then be broken down, sold off for their parts, and essentially try to turn that cash over at, I don't know, let's just say 30% margin. And the reason I say 30% margin is because if you watch my videos on Karlov Manor, for example, I was looking at like a 30 to 40% margin, if I remember correctly, after all the fees and shipping and everything. Once I broke it all down, did the work, sold it. So say you did that with Karlov Manor and you did 100 boxes in a month. Okay, this is all theoretical because I can't speak to your exact situation or how quickly you'll make it happen. But for video's sake, if you have $10,000 in working capital in a business and you turn over all of that money, again, we're keeping numbers easy here, at 30%. You have now, even if you did that over the course of a whole year, you had $10,000 worth of inventory and you sold it all for after all of your expenses and your margin and everything's cleared out, you've gone through all your supplies, all of your expenses are taken out, you now have $13,000 in your bank account. You have made 30% on your cash over the course of that year. And the important thing here for you to understand is that those numbers compound at a much faster rate than buying and holding, though you need to put in the work to do it. So what I'm really getting at here is just trying to explain how the numbers work at different scales for different levels of effort. And I think that people don't always understand that to make a lot of money investing, you need a lot of money. And I can't say it any simpler than that. And that might sound rude or, a little like high on your horse. But take Rudy, for example. In a recent video, he talked about how he had like $20, $30 million worth of sealed product across his warehouses or in his inventory, whatever it is. Let's scale that number back to 10 million. 10,000, 10 million. Okay, you have $10 million of sealed inventory. At that point, you sit on product, you get 8%, and 8% translates to $800,000. It's the law of large numbers here, guys. It's the law of scale. I mean, when you have more money, it compounds. I mean, technically it's the same rate, but on a bigger number, it's a much larger amount. So I know this sounds obvious, but when someone like Rudy is promoting buying and holding, and clearly he would be because he needs to shill to his patrons, and I would be in the same position if you're selling sealed product. And if you're just selling product in general, you want people to buy it. And I honestly respect his attitude of buy and hold because I think in the general investment world, people are trying to make a quick buck. And in most cases, that is just not possible. But when you're on a small scale, you need to think about how much return you can get on your cash now, so then you can stash it away at normalized returns down the line. And the reason this is really near and dear to my heart is because I run a different business totally unrelated to this day to day. I also invest in real estate. I have many residential units and getting into commercial. And once you have those assets, it compounds at a much faster rate. And then you can go out and buy more of it and sit on more of it. But if you only have $1,000 to invest or $10,000 to invest, that money, as long as you're not being stupid, is usually better utilized in an active business, especially if that's all that you have. Now, the thing is passive investing is huge. And some people want to be passive with their investments. Again, if you want to buy this stuff and sit on it and not do any work, I totally respect that. But this channel is all about growing a Magic the Gathering business. It's all about starting from scratch and building up. Now, in order to do that at a decent rate, you need to be turning over inventory, which means turning over capital. And every time you turn over capital, you are generating excess returns that are then going back into the business, buying more inventory over and over again. So let's say we go back to that $10,000 example, and you found a way to turn over your $10,000, accounting for all your expenses and everything, and come back, walk away with $13,000. And then you were able to shorten your time frame and found a method to do that once a month. Okay, now you're looking at $3,000 per month. Again, don't hold me to these numbers. I'm just trying to explain the concept. $3,000 a month over 12 months is $36,000. Turning over $10,000 of working capital. And before you start commenting saying, that's not possible, that's not how the numbers work, that's how it works. In my business, not to get too into the nitty gritty, but in one account, I'll leave 6 figures of working capital. And I can turn over multiples of that in profit every single year. So the amount that I actually have sitting in the business and invested in the business is turning over at faster rates, where realistically, if you take that same $10,000 and you made 36, you are now looking at a 360% return. And this is where people make a lot of money in business. And I'm not saying everyone can recreate it. There are a lot of people that have no business being in business, and that is the unfortunate reality. Not everyone can do it. But I think that videos like this are really important for the sole reason that people need to understand the opportunity costs of where they allocate their money. And what I mean by opportunity cost is if you have $10,000 tied up in sealed Outlaws of Thunder Junction and all you have is $10,000, is there a better way that you could utilize your time and money to make more money? If you give up a whole year with your $10,000 tied up here, did you give up the opportunity to make $36,000? Your opportunity cost, therefore, would be you made $800 at 8% compared to tens of thousands off of that same amount of money. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate on this in the comments, but I will laugh at it because I have made it happen in several other businesses. And I'm probably going to get dislikes for that. I'm probably going to get trashed on for that. But I think the general financial knowledge of the public is not strong enough to just make... I don't know, guys. I'm really not trying to be a jerk or sound like I'm on a high horse. I'm just trying to provide actionable advice that people need to think about. Because if you are someone who's in the business of being in business and you end up storing your money away at a safe return before you have a lot of money to store away, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. And again, not financial advice. You could lose everything. You could go out and put all your 10,000. I keep picking up this one because it's the closest to me. Whatever. Karlov Manor, right? I love this set. It has made me money. But if you went out and you bought this right off the bat and you absolutely lost everything before it rebounded, you would be yelling at me. Totally get that. You need to spread your risk. You need to be able to diversify. You need to do things that are smart and business-minded in order to ensure that all your eggs are not in one basket when you're trying to turn over product and create sustainable returns. But these are things you need to learn and need to understand if you ever want to make money in general running any kind of business. So I thought this was a really interesting and important topic to cover. I don't want to keep beating a dead horse. I think it makes sense. If you have any questions about it, please comment down below. Again, disclaimer in the comments too, or in the description too, I am not trying to give your own financial advice. Everyone has a very different financial situation, but I think financial literacy is not that high in general, and everyone could benefit from watching like really good financial YouTubers and whatnot, but there's not a lot of great YouTubers that talk about these topics, whether it's TCG related or whether it's life related in general, whether you're starting a business to, I don't know, sell embroidered t-shirts, whatever it might be. I just think that this is not talked about enough, and I really felt like, based off of what my previous videos have been talking about and people's general reactions, which have been great, so thank you very much, I felt like this was info I wanted to share and talk about. So if this shocked you at all, let me know in the comments down below. If you have any questions, again, I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability, given my knowledge. I can't give advice based off of all of your personal situations, but that is my view on running businesses versus passively investing. Again, Rudy, anyone who talks about buying and holding, I'm all about that. I invest in stocks. I invest in real estate. My timeline is forever. I do not plan on selling it to make a quick buck, but by putting in larger amounts of capital, you get outsized returns. Because then when you have, like Rudy, $10 million working for you, then you don't really need to peddle all of this stuff. Because then at 8%, you make $800,000 without lifting a dang finger. And that's the goal, right? Isn't that everyone's goal? Make money, sit on a beach, passive, sip your Mai Tais or whatever the heck you enjoy while sitting in the sun. I think that's like a beachy drink. But anyway, actually, is that an Asian cocktail? I don't know. Anyway, that is my view. I hope this video might have been helpful for you, just to change your perspective on how money works. Not super magic related or TCG related, but it applies. It applies to every business. It applies to all these little pieces of value in my hand, all of these sealed products. It's all money, baby. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed. And as always, have a great day. Appreciate you for watching.